Max finds a pair of red high-heeled shoes. He immediately slips them on. The moment he does, he transforms into a cross-dresser. His figure is just incredible. Yup, Max has a unique ability. No matter whose shoes he puts on, he'll instantly transform into the owner of those shoes. When he puts on leather shoes, he becomes a black man. Change the shoes, and he becomes a handsome old man. But if he accidentally dons a dead person's shoes, well, he's dead! Max Simpkin was just an ordinary shoemaker a day ago. He'd been mending shoes for 20 years and had been single for 30. Every day, he watches his regular customer, Emiliano, being accompanied by beautiful women and driven around in luxury cars. He's so envious. He just wishes his dad, Abraham, was rich like Bill Gates. Not only is he broke, but his dad also left home over 20 years ago, and no one knows if he's alive or dead. But right now, Max has no idea that what his dad left him is way more amazing than money. The black man, Leon Ludlow, is a wealthy guy. Seeing Max, the shoemaker, eyeing the big logo on his expensive watch, he can't help but brag. See this watch? Selling it could buy 3 of your shoe shops, and I've got a whole collection of these at home. Before leaving, Ludlow throws down a threat. He'll come to pick up his shoes later. Should they not be fixed properly, Max won't be able to close the shop tonight. So Max has to work overtime with his head down, slaving away. But the sewing machine acts up. While sewing, it starts sparking. No option left. He heads down to the warehouse and uses the old-fashioned ancestral sewing machine left by his dad. Finally, he manages to fix Ludlow's shoes. While waiting for Ludlow to pick them up, Max looks at these pricey leather shoes. They're his size exactly. He can't resist and puts them on. And then, as soon as Max slips on the leather shoes, he instantly becomes Ludlow. Scared, he quickly kicks them off and reverts to himself. What on earth is going on? Did he just encounter a ghost? With a let me give it another shot mindset, Max puts the shoes on again. Sure enough, he transforms his appearance successfully once more. He walks over to the mirror and takes a close look. Ludlow's big gold teeth are perfectly replicated in his own mouth. Soon, Max figures out the secret. Turns out, any shoes repaired by that ancestral sewing machine have a magical effect. Put them on, and you'll become the owner of the shoes right away. So Max grabs a few more pairs of shoes and heads to the warehouse to get to work. After putting on one pair after another, a miracle indeed happens again. It's like opening mystery boxes. One pair of shoes, one new face. He's having a blast. From then on, Max's life becomes far more exciting. Almost all the customers' shoes turn into Max's playthings. Max puts on a pair of shoes belonging to a Chinese customer and heads to the square to do Tai Chi with the elderly ladies. Then he wears a pair of shoes that belong to a black customer, eats a meal at a restaurant without paying, and then changes his shoes in the restroom and leaves as if nothing happened. But this is just small-time fun. Max doesn't think it's thrilling enough. Looking at Emiliano's supermodel girlfriend Taryn, he gets an idea. That night, Max transforms into Emiliano's appearance and successfully sneaks into Taryn's house. She's in the shower at the time. Hearing the noise, she thinks Emiliano is back and even invites him in to scrub her back. As soon as Max hears this, he gets all excited. But just as he's about to drop his pants, he glances at the shoes on his feet and remembers he can't take them off. He quickly pulls up his pants and makes a run for it. By wearing different people's shoes, Max has experienced countless other lives. But after a while, Max gets tired of all this. After all, when he gets home, there's his old mother, Sarah, to take care of. Because of her advanced age, Sarah is always in a wheelchair, and her mental state isn't stable. It seems she doesn't have long left. Max wants to fulfill his mother's wishes as much as possible before she passes away. But Sarah says she doesn't want anything. She just wants to have dinner with her husband, Abraham, one more time in her final days. But Abraham has been missing for over 20 years. There's no other way. Max takes out the shoes his father left behind. That magical ability is given a special meaning for the first time. This time, he decides to step into his father's shoes, quite literally, and fulfill his mother's last wish. At night, Sarah dresses up beautifully, and Max puts on the shoes and appears looking like Abraham. Sarah is shocked to see her husband, who has been missing for over 20 years, suddenly show up.
I missed you so much.
I'm here now.
But where did you go?
I went for pears.
The two enjoy a lovely candlelit dinner together and dance the most romantic dance they used to. It's as if they've never been apart. All they see is each other. And after Sarah achieves her wish, she passes away peacefully the next day. After a simple funeral, Max returns to his shoe shop. Then Ludlow shows up. Ludlow angrily confronts Max, asking where he's been these days. He's been waiting to get his shoes back. Turns out he had something come up and didn't come to pick them up that day. And every time he came later, Max wasn't there. Max tells him he was in mourning, but Ludlow doesn't let it go, and even insults Sarah. Now Max, who's usually a bit of a pushover, gets angry. He refuses to hand over the shoes to Ludlow on the grounds that he doesn't have the receipt. Ludlow can only threaten to come back tomorrow. Ludlow is rich. When he came to the shop before, he was really cocky. Max remembers him saying that he could buy out 3 shoe shops with just one of his watches, and he has a whole set of them at home. Now that Sarah has passed away, Max urgently needs money to buy a cemetery plot. He decides to target Ludlow, so Max changes his appearance and keeps trailing Ludlow, planning to find an opportunity to get some money out of him. Max discovers that Ludlow is actually the leader of a gang. He made all that money through violent loan sharking. Anyway, his money isn't clean, so Max doesn't have any moral qualms. He quickly comes up with a plan. He transforms into Ludlow's appearance and sneaks into his house. After searching around, he finds a box. When he opens it, there are all kinds of weapons inside. He picks up a stun gun. For some strange reason, he zaps himself first. By the time Max wakes up, a lot of time has passed. He quickly puts on Ludlow's shoes and hurries to leave. But as soon as he goes out, he runs into Ludlow, who's just getting home. Seeing someone impersonating him, Ludlow starts a fight. He pins Max tightly against the wall. Fortunately, Max is holding the stun gun and manages to stun Ludlow. Then he ties Ludlow up tightly, and he himself transforms into a chubby kid. He starts questioning Ludlow about where he hides his money. But come on, Ludlow is a tough guy in the underworld. How could he be scared of a little kid? Max walks behind the door and in a flash, transforms into a cross-dresser. The tough gangster Ludlow, who usually beats everyone, panics. He has no idea which organization he has offended. He immediately spills the beans. He reveals that a whole set of famous watches is hidden behind the mirror in the toilet. After getting the watches, Max is about to stun Ludlow again. But just then, Ludlow's henchmen happen to arrive. Max has no choice but to continue impersonating Ludlow to deal with the situation. Led by the henchmen, he goes to meet the local greedy real estate developer, Elaine Greenawalt. Greenawalt has been developing an old street recently, but there's a holdout, Solomon, who just refuses to move out no matter what. She hopes Ludlow can help solve this problem. Hearing this, Max directly accepts the payment on Ludlow's behalf. Anyway, he's the one getting the money. If the task isn't completed later, it's Ludlow who will be in trouble. It seems like a win-win situation for Max. However, when he gets back to Ludlow's house, Max never expects that Ludlow is pointing a pistol at his forehead. It turns out that Ludlow has managed to break free from the ropes in a short time. Ludlow presses Max to the ground and beats him up. In a hurry, Max kicks off one of his high-heeled shoes. This directly stuns Ludlow. Once Max takes off the shoes, he turns back to his original self. During his escape, with an accidental kick, Max uses the red high-heeled shoe to send Ludlow to heaven. Oh no, he's killed someone. Max rushes to the police station to turn himself in, but when he returns to the crime scene, the body is gone and the room is cleaned up spotlessly. Max goes back to his shop, looking utterly confused, but he finds that the high-heeled shoes and the stolen money are neatly placed on his own counter. To get rid of these troubles, he transforms into a cross-dresser again and decides to return the money to Greenawalt. But just as he's about to get into a taxi, the barber shop owner, Jimmy, stops him. Jimmy scolds him, "You brat! You haven't been opening your shop recently. What are you running around for?" Max says he has something urgent and has to leave, but Jimmy just won't let him go. He says, "You're acting exactly like your dad before he disappeared. You can't follow in his footsteps. Don't mess with people you shouldn't." But Max is determined. He insists on going to find Greenawalt, but in the world of crime, there's no way to just return the money and get away with it. With a single command from Greenawalt, Max is knocked unconscious. When Max wakes up again, he's lying in the back seat of a car. The two henchmen in the front seat are discussing killing him first, and then burning the old holdout to death tomorrow night. Max has a brainwave and slips on a pair of shoes belonging to a deceased person. When the two henchmen turn around, after escaping, Max decides to fight back against Greenawalt and save Solomon. He first runs to the neighborhood committee to explain the situation and then tells Solomon his plan. In the next second, Max transforms into Solomon. With some smooth talking, he successfully wins Greenawalt's trust and promises to move out the next day. But the next day, although Greenawalt has already ordered her men to send Solomon far away, When she comes to Solomon's house again, she finds that he's still there. Realizing she's been tricked, Greenawalt shouts angrily that she'll kill his whole family. Just as she finishes speaking, a reporter jumps out from behind with a camera and records the whole process. Because of threatening the residents, Greenawalt makes it to the top of the news and is completely ruined. What awaits her is legal punishment. But the story doesn't end here. Max transforms into the dead Ludlow, planning to use his ill-gotten money to do some good deeds. But by accident, he runs into Ludlow's enemies and gets kidnapped by several big guys and thrown into a car, just at this critical moment. When he wakes up, he finds that it's Jimmy, the barbershop owner, who saved him. Seeing the confusion on Max's face, Jimmy takes off his shoes. It turns out that he is Max's father, Abraham, who has been missing for years. Abraham was once as obsessed with the shoes as Max is now, enjoying other people's lives. As time went by, he made a lot of enemies. To protect Max and his mother, Abraham had to pretend to leave, disguise himself as someone else, and secretly watch over them. It was him who helped Max deal with Ludlow's body before. Abraham takes Max to the basement. Wow, there are thousands of pairs of shoes on display here, representing people with all kinds of identities and backgrounds. These have been passed down in the family. It turns out that their family has always had this special ability. Max and Abraham get into a luxury car. They will continue to assume different identities to combat evil and advocate for good. This movie is called The Cobbler. The fantasy setting of the whole movie is very novel. Funny elements are interspersed with touching moments. Overall, it's really great. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you next time.